patriarchs, the main founders. After the French Revolution, however, they turned back, the leaders of the nation turned back to Christianity, as did Miller himself, and you get a tremendous revival that will shake not only North America, but Europe and other places, this turning back to Christianity. Accompanying the Second Great Awakening was a wave of social reform to change all injustices. It's during this time that we find abolitionism, that is, the movement to free the slaves, the end of all societies to end war, the American Vegetarian Society to get rid of flesh eating. There were literally thousands of reform societies. Societies to do away with the improper treatment of prisoners and the mentally ill, and on and on and on. What they were looking for was social perfection. That is, to clean up all the ills of society through social reform. This social reform was a part of the Second Great Awakening, but it was also the major impulse in American politics. Now that we had democracy, we could make the world the way it should be. So it was both a religious and a secular movement. Beyond social perfection was a wave of personal perfectionism. Let's get rid of all sin. Now, what was the aim? What was the aim of all this social and personal and religious and political perfectionism? It was to bring about the millennium. The millennium, Charles Finney, who was the Billy Graham of his day, he said if the churches get busy and clean up this world, the millennium could begin in 3 years. He said that about 1837. Another time he says, if we get busy, the millennium can begin in 3 months. The millennium, of course, is that 1,000-year period of Revelation 20. And they believed that the earth would get better and better and better and better and better for 1,000 years. At the end of the second coming, at the end of the millennium, Christ would come. This is called postmillennialism. Postmillennialism. Christ will come at the end of the millennium. Miller began to preach his message in this context. And literally, this inundated North America. Nobody had ever seen democracy before. We thought we could really usher in, through democracy and through these new religious movements, that we could really usher in the millennium through human activity. Miller came into this context with everybody thinking about the millennium, and he says, you're right about the millennium. You're right that it's about ready to begin, but you're wrong and when Jesus comes. Jesus is going to come at the beginning of the millennium. He was a pre-millennialist. And during the millennium, there will be no second chances for improvement. You had better be ready when Jesus comes. So Miller was in tune with the larger culture on the topic of the millennium to soon begin. But Christ will come at the beginning, not the end. But because Miller was talking about something that was popular in the culture, he found openings to the churches of all the denominations. The early Miller found openings in Baptist, Methodist, Connectionist, Presbyterian. All Protestant churches welcomed Miller with open arms in his early ministry. As they get closer to the time, there'll be more of a problem. So this is the one socio-cultural issue I want to deal with. These issues, the 6 intellectual, the 1 socio-cultural, these are the times in which Adventism is born. And that's about what I'd like to say on the roots of Adventist theology.